All right. Please give a round of applause to Mr. Haggerty.
Yes, maybe you have something you want to change in your work, and you know that it'll save your company money or it will increase your revenue, but it's hard to explain it to your boss because your boss isn't a network engineer. Your boss is a business person. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about you have something that needs to change, but your boss doesn't want to change it because he knows or she knows that it won't make business sense. We heard an example of this morning. Maybe you are concerned, you think there's a climate emergency, you're working at a hyperscaler, you don't like that you're buying more gas-powered power plants, and you would like your company to do something different. That's the sort of issue. Okay, slides are still not ready. Yeah, so what do you do about that? I'm going to use some smaller issues that you might actually be able to change in a short time as examples. One example would be maybe you think it's important that your company's not doing enough to protect customer data. Hey, cool. Oh, yeah. Company's not doing enough to protect customer data, and the reason this is not a good business is the reason that it might not be a good business decision to protect customer data properly is the right business decision might be just let the breaches happen and don't pay a fine, because that is apparently what usually happens according to this study. Another issue could be like work from home. Maybe you're more productive when you work from home, but maybe you're not, and that's fine. There could be many reasons why it's important for you to work from home. It's fine to want to do things that don't obviously make your company money. Another example would be maybe you don't like when your boss discriminates against you based on your gender, or maybe you don't like when your boss discriminates against your fellow workers based on their gender. And people do like to say that gender equality is good for business. Maybe that's right, maybe that's not, but it's fine if it's not. I think human rights are pretty cool, even if they don't make money. Here are some other people who think human rights are pretty cool. And here's some more. You'll probably see a bunch of them on the street on Saturday. Yeah, so if you are to make a change like this that your boss isn't into, what do you do? Very high-level summary is you need to talk one-on-one with everyone in the company, or everyone in your department, or everyone in your team, maybe, whatever the relevant group is. But I don't mean the boss, because we're talking about issues where that approach didn't work. This is a lot of people. So who do you start with? You might start with the easy people, like the ones you already know. That's a pretty good start. But you need to get help to reach everyone. So you can use these two techniques that are listed here, social charting and workplace mapping. I won't actually explain them. I can tell you more later, or you can look them up. These are ways of finding, they are pretty simple, actually. They sound fancy when they have a special name to it. These are ways of finding, like I need to, who's the person who will talk to more people in that department? Or some other, yeah, you can't be the only one who talks one-on-one to everyone. When you do those one-on-one conversations, here are 5 things that you probably want to include, and they sort of go in this order. Earlier on, you're probably going to focus on the earlier issues. I'll go through them really, really briefly. Again, talk to me later if you want to hear more. You want to find out what the issues are and convince the person that these really are issues and that the person can do something about these issues. If this is the sort of thing the boss doesn't want, then when the boss finds out about this, the boss is going to cause trouble for you, so you need to prepare for the possibility. You need to say this is what's going to happen, so that emotionally, so that you're not shocked when that happens. And you also need to say, if you want to change this, you can talk to some other people in your department or whatever. And then once you have a clear idea of what everyone wants to change, because remember, the first step here is finding out what everyone wants. So you need to agree on something. Then you can discuss how you're going to do it. But the hard part is getting everyone on board. Or the long part is getting everyone on board. And I'll talk more about the push step later. I want to address, thank you, one issue. I'm talking about like you're the worker and the boss is not doing what you want, but a lot of you might be bosses. So what do you do? Well, the first thing is if you give your workers real decision power, then they won't need to cause you trouble. So maybe you do that, but you have your boss's boss's boss makes some bad decision, and you're stuck with some workers who complain to you because you're the person that you're their boss. So when that happens, recognize that it's not personal. They're complaining to you because you're their boss, even though you didn't make this decision. But you can do something about it. You can use the same methods that I'm telling you to change your bosses. A lot of what I'm saying sounds like a trade union. A trade union could do some of these things. Unfortunately, they usually focus on other tactics, contract negotiation and enforcement of contracts and enforcement of laws, and these are great, but sometimes these are great. You could do other things. Sometimes one method makes more sense than the other. The ones I'm talking about have some nice advantages, that they're faster, that they don't require lawyers and stuff. Anyway, yeah. So let's go back to that push step. Let's say I gave those 3 examples in the beginning. Let's talk about what the push step might look like for these. Maybe you want to protect your data better against customer data better against attacks, and your boss says, no, we can't spend time on that. You could just do it and not tell your boss you did it. Maybe some of you have already done that. About the work from home issue, I'll give an example that is sort of indicative of many that I've read about. This was at one of the really big tech companies. It was people were working from home because there was this global pandemic that everyone was worried about, and then the company said, you have to come back to work, and the workers didn't think that was a good idea. So they had a video call with their boss, and all the workers said, you need to let us keep working from home, and when the boss starts making excuses, you say, you need to listen. And it's just a conversation, but when everyone agrees, you're showing your power, and then sometimes changes the boss's opinion, and it did for them. One of the reasons you start with small issues is when you have small successes, you realize you have power, and your boss realizes you have power, so then you can make some bigger changes. So the same group that I just mentioned at that big tech company, they learned that their boss was going to be switched from to a new boss who had a history of discriminating against women, and what he would do is minimize their work during promotion discussions so that they wouldn't get promoted. So when they learned about this, they told everyone in the group so that they were prepared what would happen, and so that when the boss minimized their work, they would realize that he was wrong, so that they wouldn't be feel bad about it, and also that they could document all of this. So they documented, but they didn't send it to HR right away. They just kept it for when the right time came. Then when it was time for promotions, other people in the promotion committee were ready for, were informed that this how the boss is. So they were able to correct the boss when he said that certain workers were not so good. And also at this time was a convenient time to present all of these reports to the boss's boss. I said before, don't talk to the boss, but this is different. It's not like, boss, can you help me? I have a problem. It's like, boss, you just said you support women, and we have all these reports of women who don't discrimination against women. So you look really, really bad if you don't do something about this. So then the boss talked to HR, and when the big boss talks to HR, things happen. If you want to learn more about this, you can talk to me. And a lot of you might be POSA members. You can also talk to me, but you might be cool if you got together with the other POSA members and learn some more about this. You might consider talking to the POSA staff who are here today, or again to me. Thank you.